Good afternoon, Woke fam. It's Scott here from Woke Societies, and today the Dems dropped some bombshell emails coming out about Trump and Jeffrey Epstein from the Oversight Committee. And will these be the emails that finally bring Trump down and tie him to Jeffrey Epstein that they have attempted so many times? What are the new allegations and what are they claiming here? Let's dive into it and break this all down. Let's take a watch.
This morning, the bombshell release of what House Democrats say are emails to and from deceased convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, several referring to President Donald Trump by name. In an April 2011 email released by Democrats on the House Oversight Committee, lawmakers say Epstein wrote to his now convicted accomplice, Ghislaine Maxwell, 3 years after pleading guilty to sex crimes involving a minor, telling her, "I want you to realize that that dog that hasn't barked is Trump. Unnamed victim spent hours at my house with him. He has never once been mentioned." According to the released emails, Maxwell responds, "I have been thinking about that." But this summer, in a recorded interview with the Department of Justice, Maxwell told Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, the president's former lawyer, she never witnessed Trump act inappropriately.
I never witnessed the president in any inappropriate setting in any way. The president was never inappropriate with anybody. In the times that I was with him, he was a gentleman in all respects.
Shortly after that interview, Maxwell was moved to a minimum security prison camp, prompting criticism she received special treatment. Committee Democrats also releasing this January 2019 email, where Epstein corresponds with author Michael Wolff less than 6 months before the financier would be charged again, this time with sex trafficking of minors. Discussing President Trump's repeated claim he kicked Epstein out of his Palm Beach club, Epstein writing, "Trump said he asked me to resign, never a member ever. Of course, he knew about the girls as he asked Ghislaine to stop." President Trump has denied any knowledge of Epstein's alleged crimes.
It's a hoax. It's started by Democrats.
After Epstein's arrest in 2019, Trump said he hadn't spoken with him in 15 years. And earlier this year, Trump claimed the reason he banned his one-time friend from Mar-a-Lago in the mid-2000s was because Epstein stole Trump's club staff, including young women.
He took people, and because he took people, I said, don't do it anymore. You know, they work for me. And he took, beyond that, he took some others. And once he did that, that was the end of him. I didn't like when they steal people. I don't like it.
And no response yet from the White House on the.
So this has been the new Democrat attempt to bring Trump down, time to Epstein to try to ruin his presidency. This has been going on for a long time now. And now that the government shutdown is going to be coming to an end, the Democrats need another distraction to throw into Trump's lot here and try to throw a monkey wrench into everything and to muddy the water. Now, let's break this all down here and show you guys exactly what the Democrats did here, because, yes, they put out these new emails, and they also redacted a particular name in these said emails, and it's the key to this whole entire hoax here. So let's take a look. This is the email that's being referenced here from April 2nd of 2011 from Jeffrey Epstein, and he writes, "I want you to realize that that dog that hasn't barked is Trump." And you see there in the center of this page, there's a redaction replaced with the word victim. There's no name, just the word victim. Victim spent hours at my house with him. He has never once been mentioned. Police chief, etc. I'm 75% there. And they go on here with another one. And here's the one to Michael Wolff. Victim, again, it's all redacted. Mar-a-Lago, more redactions here. Trump said he asked me to resign. Never a member ever. Of course he knew about the girls as he asked Ghislaine to stop. So where is this all going? What exactly did the Democrats decide to redact here? Because the name that they redacted was everything. And thanks to the Daily Mail here, they have the unredacted emails. And the name that we find here is Virginia. And Virginia Giuffre is the name here that has cleared Trump's name multiple times in interviews and also in her book. And I have the sauce here. This is what they redacted. This is the actual original email here saying, "I want you to realize that the dog that hasn't barked is Trump." And there's the name in the middle here saying Virginia. Virginia spent hours at my house with him. He has never once been mentioned. Police chief, etc. I'm 75% there. Why would they take this out? And these are from the court transcripts back in 2019 after Epstein was arrested. It says, when have you met him? At Mar-a-Lago, my dad and him, I wouldn't say they were friends, but my dad knew him and they would talk all the time. Well, not all the time, but they knew each other. And the question was, have you ever been in Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein's presence with one another? And the answer was no. And there's also more here about the interactions and questions about any kind of sexual relations with Virginia Giuffre, any victims, all that stuff. And let's get the facts straight here, because this is why you have to pay attention and pick apart these details, because the devil is always in the details. This is from Technofog Substack here, breaking this all down. And of course, context is necessary. And here's a screenshot of what the Dems put out today in their email drop. Epstein's email contains serious allegations that were denied by Virginia Giuffre, the redacted victim named in the email. Giuffre was deposed in November of 2016 as part of her lawsuit against Ghislaine Maxwell. Giuffre was asked specific questions about Donald Trump, his familiarity with Epstein, whether Trump committed any wrongdoing, and Giuffre cleared Trump. Here are the relevant excerpts. All right, what's inaccurate about the last statement on that page? Giuffre said Donald Trump was also a good friend of Jeffrey's. That part is true. He didn't partake in any sex with any of us, but he flirted with me. It's true that he didn't partake in any sex with us, but it's not true that he flirted with me. Donald Trump never flirted with me. Giuffre goes on to say, then the next sentence is, he'd laugh and tell Jeffrey you got the life. I never said that to her. Question, when you say he didn't partake in any sex with any of us, who is us? Giuffre says, girls. How do you know who Donald Trump had sex with? Giuffre says, oh, I didn't physically see him have sex with any of the girls, so I can't say who he had sex with in his whole life or not, but I just know it wasn't with me when I was with other girls. And who were the other girls that were with in Donald Trump's presence? And she goes on to say, none. There, I worked for Donald Trump and I've met him probably a few times. When have you met him? At Mar-a-Lago, my dad and him. I wouldn't say they were friends, but my dad knew him and they would talk all the time. Well, not all the time, but when they saw each other. Have you ever been in Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein's presence with one another? No. What is your basis for your statement that Donald Trump is a good friend of Jeffrey's? Jeffrey told me that Donald Trump is a good friend of his. But have you ever observed them, but you never observed them together? Giuffre says no. Not that I can actually remember. I mean, not off the top of my head, no. When did Donald Trump flirt with you? He didn't. That's what's inaccurate. Did you ever see Donald Trump at Jeffrey's home? Not that I can remember. So the entire premise of the Democrat drop today, the victim themselves, is debunking this entire story. There you have it. Trump never flirted with or had relations with Virginia Giuffre. She never saw Trump in Epstein's presence or as his residence. She never saw Trump and met with Trump at Mar-a-Lago, certainly not at Epstein's home. But the fabrications don't stop. From another email released today in 2019, Epstein would spin a different story about Trump, that Epstein was never asked to resign because he was not a member, that of course Trump knew about the girls as he asked Ghislaine to stop. This is also false. Epstein was a member at Mar-a-Lago, and as we know from Trump's own statements and from reporting from anti-Trump authors, the Grifters Club, Trump Mar-a-Lago, and the selling of the presidency, Trump banned Epstein from Mar-a-Lago after Epstein was hitting on the teenage daughter of a club member. That is true. He was hitting on a young teenage girl. Trump caught wind of it, and that was it, and he banned him from Mar-a-Lago. And as to asking Ghislaine to stop, it is public knowledge that Epstein Maxwell were recruiting spa workers from Mar-a-Lago. Trump last discussed that issue this past summer. That was part of the dispute between Trump and Epstein. There's no allegation that Trump or anyone else at Mar-a-Lago knew of Epstein's true motives. So Epstein got caught hitting on an underage girl at Mar-a-Lago. Trump kicked him out, and Ghislaine and Epstein were also trying to recruit young girls from his own staff, and Trump was not having that. He obviously knew at some point that what he was doing, and I just want to put this out as well. People forget that Donald Trump was an informant and working with the feds to help bring down the mob out in Atlantic City. This is common knowledge, and yes, it is not a mystery that Trump is in the Epstein files. And the thing is, we've all suspected for a long time that Trump has been an informant against Jeffrey Epstein, and this can be corroborated with a interview here that was done with his name is Attorney Bradley Edwards, who represented 70 trafficking victims of Jeffrey Epstein back in 2009, and he explains how when he was going through this entire case, when he was issuing a ton of subpoenas, he needed help here, and Donald Trump was the only one that came forward that didn't want to get deposed. Didn't need to go through any of that, just wanted to have an honest conversation, and he gave this lawyer everything. Here is that interview section, because a lot of people forget about this, and the Dems are banking that you won't know this, but you will now. Take a watch.
Obviously, our current president has had relationships with Epstein in the past, and there are those Katie Johnson and maybe other victims who have accused Trump of being involved in things like this. In my experience, Trump supporters will not listen to anything along those lines. Obviously, we're not a court of law here right now, but are those claims of though that case was dropped, it was dropped before it went to court, In your opinion, as a lawyer and your experience, is there anything you can say as to the validity of those claims, or whether or not there will be any, any more about that?
Nothing at all. The only thing that I can say about President Trump is that he is the only person who, in 2009, when I served a lot of subpoenas on a lot of people, or at least gave notice to some pretty connected people that I wanted to talk to them, he is the only person who picked up the phone and said, let's just talk. I'll give you as much time as you want. I'll tell you what you need to know, and was very helpful in the information that he gave, and gave no indication whatsoever that he was involved in anything untoward whatsoever, but had good information that checked out and that helped us, and that we didn't have to take a deposition of him.
That was in 2009?
That was in 2009. So,
do you know if there's any truth to James Patterson's claims that Trump kicked Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago?
I've definitely heard that.
And there you have it, guys. So let me know in the comments, fam, what you think. This is another hoax going up in flames. These new, quote, Jeffrey Epstein emails the Democrats dropped. To me, it's a smokescreen. The government shutdown's coming to an end, and the Democrats are still on fire, and they're trying to figure out how to mitigate such damage control with this PR crap with Jeffrey Epstein. So like, share, comment, guys. Subscribe to the channel. I appreciate you. We will be live tonight at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time on here on Woke Societies on YouTube, Pilled, and across all the internet platforms that we stream on. We'll see you guys tonight. Stay safe, stay strong, stay woke. Bye, my friends.